Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being there. Yes, my name is Matías González, today representing to the Tourism Observatory of the Canary Islands. I'm going to very briefly speak about the energy transition in the Canary Island and the challenges, but also opportunities that it posed for the tourism industry in this island. Let's share my screen. I think it's here. Yes, share. So yes, this is the title of my talk. So first, let's start answering the question of what is specific and really challenging in our energy transition, in the Canary Islands transition. So we are an archipelago with 8 islands, 8 inhabited islands, with 6 different and isolated electric grids, which pose a severe problem of instability when adding renewable energies that, as you know, are not manageable. So it's very difficult in this condition, the equation of reaching energy supply to equal energy demand in each instant. So this is a first challenging aspect. The second one is we are a biodiversity spot in the European Union and worldwide. So there is a potential trade-off between the spreading of renewable energy devices all over the territory of the Canary Island and the conservation of our rich natural patrimony. So this must be considered when planning energy transition. And third, as maybe you know, our regional government decided to anticipate the complete decarbonization of our economy to the year 2040, 10 years before the rest of Europe. So taking into account these 3 specificities, let's present now what are, in my opinion, the key pillars to underpin the energy transition in the Canary Islands. The first one, and the most important one, push up the energy efficiency closer to the technological frontier to reduce energy consumption and energy costs. This is supported on the idea that, at least in our context, in the Canary Island context, the cheapest kilowatt hour is the one that does not need to be produced. Second pillar, quickly increase of renewable share while maintaining electric grid stability, taking into account that transition means also electrification of energy production and demand, so making it even more difficult. Third pillar, promote decentralized solutions to provide energy security and reduce cost, especially for small and medium-sized firms. Fourth pillar, complete the energy transition while our natural and capital is preserved and even enhanced. And fifth pillar, make energy transition a driver for destination attractiveness and competitiveness. So starting with the first pillar and the most important one, so let's go with efficiency. Regional government estimates the potential for efficiency in 40% of our current energy consumption, 40%. Of course, there are many fields of feasible intervention for to undertake the task of gaining efficiency, but I'm going to refer just to the most important one for the Canary Island. First one is increase efficiency in water cycle management. As you know, maybe the vast majority of drinking water comes from desalination plants, while the entire cycle management consumes between 8 and 10 kilowatts hour per cubic meter. It includes transport, reverse osmosis, sewage and sewage sludge treatment, etc. Water management represents between 10 and 20%, depending on the island, of the total electric consumption. So it's a very important aspect of our efficiency tasks. So the measures that are being carried out in the Canary Island are upgrading of the membranes to increase efficiency in reverse osmosis, first one. Second, develop photovoltaic plants coupled with desalination and sewage treatment plants under the concept of distributed grids. And third, increase the reusing of treated water to irrigate agriculture and gardens that would reduce the need for water desalination and, of course, reduce the need of energy consumption to have water. This is the first pillar in efficiency, and the second important one is the adoption of state-of-the-art technology in water and rooms heating and cooling. As you can see in this slide, more than 60% of energy consumptions in hotels and similar tourist services is for heating and cooling, while in this regard, a high inefficiency remains, especially in the subsector of small and medium enterprises. So thermal isolation for buildings and water pipelines and pools and high efficiency aerothermia are being promoted with government funding. However, while a small group of big companies are very advanced in energy efficiency adoption, the vast majority of small and medium enterprises have still a long way to run. Government-driven external assistance is being a key factor to push tourism entrepreneurs ahead, especially when it is framed in structural reforms and renewable energy projects. In this pathway, the role of water and energy smart meters is being fundamental to assess and support decision-making to faster advance in energy efficiency. So this is the first pillar measures. The second, following the second, with the second pillar, which is related to increasing renewables in energy grids, stabilizing the energy grid while increasing the renewable energy share is one of the most challenging aspects of our energy transition. Although everybody knows that now, currently, renewable energy is the most affordable by far, most of them are not manageable. So their adoption is currently constrained by at least the availability of storage capacity, Second, the flexibility of thermal power plants that now are performing as backup of the electric system. And third, the adoption of cutting-edge power electronics to synchronize energy supply and energy demand. Everything is very complex, is very complex, but we are now focused in the most understandable and relevant ones for the Canary Islands. First, the connection between the energy grids of the islands. It is proven to allow reducing operational cost and emissions, in addition to the already linked electric system of Fuerteventura and Lanzarote, if you see in the screen here, which has been recently repowered to increase interconnection capacity in between both islands. Now is undertaken the linking between La Gomera and Tenerife, that has been operational by 2025. And next links are already projected. First, between Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, and Gran Canaria, and then between Tenerife and Gran Canaria, both to be operational before 2030. According to a recent publication, it would allow for an additional increase of more than 10% in renewable energy participation, an additional reduction of more than 5% in energy cost, and also reduce more than 10% greenhouse gases emissions, regarding the option without this interconnectivity. The second aspect regarding this pillar of introducing renewables in energy grids is related to that there's nothing like a one-fit-all solution for the whole Canary Islands. For example, for the case of Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, high enthalpy geothermal sources with temperatures of over 600 Celsius degrees at just 10 meters depth that are totally manageable could make stable 100% renewable energy system without significant energy storage capacity. So being secure and the cheapest option. But for the case of Tenerife and Gran Canaria, renewable energy penetration with grid stability is going hand in hand with offshore wind energy penetration, which is not just stronger than the terrestrial one, but also more predictable. And predictability, as you know, is vital for grid stability. The first plant is planned for 2027 in Gran Canaria, coupled with the so-called Salto de Chira, a reversible PAM system that will be the first of a set of them, with the mission of substitute fossil fuels-based plants as grid stabilizers. Beyond its function as grid stabilizer for favoring renewable energy share, Salto de Chira shows some interesting innovation in aspects like environmental compensation of the potential damages with public monitoring and its potential use to water agriculture when needed, and also support forest fires extintions. All of this making it a reference project of its kind. Following with the third pillar, which is the use of decentralized options. Effectively, decentralized renewable energy may provide tourism firms with cheaper and secure sources of energy. Why is it important? During the transition, fossil fuels sources still will be needed to feed electric grids, and prices will fluctuate unpredictably. By having their own renewable sources, tourist enterprises may operate with low and known energy cost, which is key for firms' financial management and feasibility. Decentralization for heating and cooling, while in this regard, a high inefficiency remains, sorry. Sorry, because I am a little bit lost in my speech now. So, 5. Just 1 second, please. Yes. Decentralized may provide tourism firms with, yes. Decentralization, sorry very much. Decentralization is narrowly linked to the so-called just transition, which is about spreading the benefits of cheaper renewables to all. Big tourism enterprises have already run fast to adopt renewables with success. The real challenge is also to incorporate tourist small and medium enterprise to that stream. But it's not going to be easy. Every day, new solar and wind-based devices flood the market. Many entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed by so much information and do not know what to do. In addition to public assistance, the institution of energy communities provide a proper frame to empower tourism small and medium enterprises along the energy transition and beyond. Amongst many aspects that we could talk about regarding decentralized transition based on energy communities, let me briefly introduce a very interesting and innovative project now being developed in Gran Canaria. As you can see in this slide, the system now is being prototyped to create an energy community to provide not just electricity, but also heat and cold to the users at a very competitive prices. See here the primary sources, then the thermal storage devices here, the electricity, heat and cold pipelines here, and the potential users surrounding the system here, as you can see. So what is really innovative and solver in this project is threefold. First, users can access to a heat and cold source that is cheaper and keeps them safe from complex management problems. Second, and maybe more relevant, one of the primary sources of energy mix is going to be the biomethanization of the organic fraction of wastes, whose management is currently proving to be a real headache for both companies and local administrations. And third, it may provide nearby agriculture with an almost for free organic amendment that would increase its productivity and would allow for a tourism-agriculture circularity relationship, creating interesting synergy between both. Of course, you see here the map of the area in Gran Canaria where this project is now being prototyped. This is the map of the estimated demand of heat, and this is the map of the estimated demand of cold, which is being the base to build the prototype for the heat and cold distribution energy community. And see here the potential for agriculture synergies with tourism. Yes, of course, the fourth pillar is that related with the idea of any intervention has negative impacts on the territory, on the landscapes, and biodiversity that must be minimized or even positivized. Just a few comments regarding the Canary Island energy transition and tourism at this regard. First, listening to the resident is a keystone. In Lanzarote, for example, residents are very proud of Cesar Manrique legacy in urban planning and landscaping, which is also very important for visitors. A priori, they refuse terrestrial wind energy and suspect also about marine wind energy. So, in addition, high enthalpy geothermal energy would be developed nearby the National Park of Timanfaya. So in these conditions, bring people to participate since the early stages of energy transition planning is crucial for this process to be not just rapid and efficient, but also peaceful in the island. The same case for Gran Canaria. In Gran Canaria, the social movement against Salto de Chira became weakened thanks to a set of measures, first to compensate the environmental impacts and to incorporate transparency and accountability principles and procedures in the development of the project. Therefore, the adoption of a regenerative economy perspective would be needed to harmonize energy transition and biodiversity conservation in the Canary Islands, not only in the long term, but also in the short and medium term. Finally, the fifth pillar, just 2 comments. Place energy transition, coupled with environmental caring, in the very core of the promotional arguments of the Canary Islands destination is vital to close the circle of a successful tourism strategy. The alignment with the global movement for decarbonization and biodiversity conservation will contribute to underpin the attractiveness and competitiveness of the Canary Islands destination for the future. Of course, there are some more aspects that would be needed a specific session to treat with them, which are related to the mobility and the use of, for example, hydrogen, green hydrogen, and so on to powering mobility. So, but it's so complex issue, and it should be, in my opinion, the topic for a future presentation. So, thank you so much for your attention, And I remain available for you to your questions. Thank you.